All right. We did it, you guys. We survived another break week. And with that being said, 11:56 is right around the corner. So that means it is time to drop our predictions for the upcoming chapter of One Piece. So before we do that, I like to go through my previous week's predictions just to see how close we were to the actual chapter. Keep in mind, this is all in good fun. Some people take this very seriously. Some people are upset that I'm not hitting 9 out of 9 correctly, but that's just the game, brother. I'm not trying to get all 9 correct. If I do, that'd be pretty crazy. But, this is all fun and games. This is just to get the conversation started around One Piece. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So right here, we got my previous week's predictions, and we're just going to go through it. Let's see here. So do I have the marker ready? Sorry, I'm not great with Photoshop yet. Let's do purple. Purple's a good color, right? So, my first prediction from 11:55's bingo sheet was that we'd see another Rocks pirate member. I put that in quotation marks, mainly because we didn't know if they'd be a pirate group yet, which they kind of just started, right? Which is insane. Rocks was literally just a criminal on the seas until he became a pirate. So, this was correct. We ended up seeing Wang Ji, Ganzui, as well as one more person. Oh, Don Marlon. Can't forget that guy, right? So we did get this correct. Pretty cool. Rocks D Xebec waits in Elbaf. We got that correct as well because he came back multiple times and he waited for Harald to arrive. Next up, I said that Shiki would show off some tech, whether it be an ability, his devil fruit, or just fighting style in general. Did not happen. Unfortunately, that is a miss. Why am I putting a circle? Let's just leave that blank, actually. So, next up, I said that Loki would learn or show off his eye powers. That didn't happen. I said Rocks D Xebec would save Loki, which, You know what? I got this right. The narrator said verbatim that Rocks D Xebec's dream saved Loki. I thought it was going to be, physically saving Loki, from a bad guy or from an animal. But alas, that wasn't the case. Instead, Rocks saved Loki due to words. Next up, I said that Holy Knights would appear in the chapter. That did not happen. Rocks would have a Devil Fruit or Buggy's Devil Fruit. That didn't happen. Also, by the way, in case you're new here, the last 3 predictions on this list are always going to be comment predictions, not my own. But I do pick them out anyway, so it's kind of like a collaboration in a way. But yes, this one will be Rocks' Devil Fruit. That did not happen. Next is Loki x Lola. That did not happen either. And lastly, Harald will rip off his horns. That did not happen. Right here, 3 out of 9. I think that's pretty good. 3 out of 9, that is a decent score. Let me save that, actually. All right, there we go. I just saved it. Bingo, 11:55. This might be our highest score. Last time around, we got 2.5 out of 9. But here, we have a solid 3. That's not bad. That is not bad. So, on to the predictions for 11:56. All right, so for my first prediction... Oh, it's still purple. Let me change that up a little bit. The first prediction is that Roger... That is right. Gold Roger meets Harald. I think it's time, guys. I mean, this is the era of Rocks and Roger. I think there is a pretty good chance that if Harald is traveling around the seas, if Roger is traveling around the world, they're surely going to meet each other before both of them die. So with that being said, I think there is a pretty good chance we could see this next chapter. And of course, right now, a lot of people, myself included, we're all living off of the Rocks D Xebec fumes. This guy's showing up in the room. He's super musty. We're all checking this guy out, and he's looking really good, right? Rocks is looking phenomenal. Feat-wise, crew-wise, character-wise, a lot about Rocks is very appealing. So appealing, in fact, that a lot of people have kind of turned on Roger, right? They're looking at Roger saying, is he really the Pirate King? Could he actually beat Rocks 1v1? Does Roger even matter anymore? So I think it's about time we not flip that narrative entirely, but I think it's time we get more from Roger. We are still in the flashback, so seeing Roger in this timeline would make sense, and I think it would do a lot of good PR for the Pirate King. So, second one I'm going to put on here is that Harald... Oh, why am I capping that? Harald, there we go, meets... the WG. It's about time, dude. I feel like I've been dropping this every week, or some iteration of it, but again, canon event. Eventually this will happen, right? Harald will meet the world government. Could be Cypherpole, could be Holy Knights, could be Emu, could be Gorsei, could even just be a celestial dragon. I think Harald will end up meeting the WG. Brother, this was his mission since day one almost, so it's gotta happen. I'm putting my money here. This flashback, as much as we love it, it cannot go on forever. This has to happen, brother. This has to happen. So next up, so this is a crazy one. This is a theory of mine. You know, obviously the first two, they're pretty much canon events in my opinion, but this one is a theory. I think that Harald snitches. Yeah, that is right, guys. I think Harald is a dirty snitcher. What I mean by this is that I think Harald is going to sell out Rocks. You know, Kaido kind of talked about it beforehand back in Wano, saying, hey, pirates, man, they stab each other in the back, right? You cannot trust pirates. Harald isn't a pirate, but hear me out. I think Harald will snitch on Rocks and stab him in the back one way or another, right? Harald already doesn't exactly trust Rocks that much. He's telling Rocks' crew that, hey, you know, if you follow him, he's only going to lead you to your demise. There's nothing good that can come out of following a man like this. I think Harald is going to sell Rocks out, potentially, to the WG. Maybe that's how he gets the audience, right? The WG is like, hey, Harald, what can you actually offer us? And Harald says, hey, here's some information about Rocks D Xebec. Is that slimy? Maybe. But if it's for the betterment of his country, I think that's fine. And of course, Rocks is a villain, right? As much as we love Rocks right now, we gotta remember that he's not exactly a good guy, right? If Garp and Roger deemed that they had a team up together to take him down, I think he might not be a good cookie. But, you know, obviously we can't judge it too soon because we don't know the details of God Valley, but that is my assumption. So, next up, number 4, Loki hears, oh, sorry, let me capitalize that. Hears about the Sun, oh, man, I am typoing all day. Sun God. Yes, that is right. Current day, Loki called himself the Sun God. Growing up as a kid, when does he eventually hear about the Sun God? I think we could see this in the flashback. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could just be like a one-liner. Like maybe the guard talks about it. Maybe Loki sees the Harley text. Maybe his dad tells him about the Sun God. And Loki just has like this crazy inspiration saying, hey, that's me. You know, I want to be that guy. So I think we will get a Loki Sun God connection, which would be pretty damn cool. Next up, this might be asking for too much, but I think Rocks shows another attack. Yeah, this might be me getting a little bit greedy, but I want to see another Rocks D Xebec showcase. I want to see what power he used to destroy the Gates of Justice. It could just be that simple, you know, sword / shockwave cannon that we saw last chapter, or it could be something even better, right? Rocks still has not shown us a named attack yet. So I think this could be pretty cool. And keep in mind, Rocks is dead, right? We're not really going to see more of Rocks outside of flashback territory. So if Oda really wants to flesh Rocks out and show us what he's all about, I think we could see another Rocks attack. Where this gets dicey, though, is that we might not see Rocks this chapter. You know, we got to go into 1156 knowing that thought right there, that we might not see Rocks D Xebec. Because at the end of the day, this is still a Loki King Harald flashback. This is an Elbaf flashback. How deeply ingrained Rocks is depends on how tied he is to Elbaf moving forward. Because right now, you know, minus trying to recruit Harald, his goal is Hachinosu. His goal is the world. So will he really show back up to Elbaf to where Oda would have to write him back in? I'm not too sure yet. You know, so I'm pretty hazy on this one. And of course, if he were to show another attack, who would it be against? Would it be against whoever is controlling Hachinosu currently? Would it be against the WG? Or maybe, would it be against Roger, right? Rocks and Roger do have a rivalry going on, so maybe we get a clash, which would be insane, dude. Roger versus Rocks in 1156. Blasphemous. Absolutely blasphemous. So, in a good way, by the way. Blasphemous usually has negative connotations, but I'm using it in a good way. Good blasphemous. Blasphemy. Wait, no, that's also bad. Forget I said anything. So, number 6, Harald loses his horns. Again, this is canon. You know, the thing with these guesses is that some of these should be slam dunks to an extent. It's just like a matter of when it'll happen. right? Like the whole like Harald meeting the WG, Loki and the Sun God, Harald losing his horns. These will happen in the story. We know this for a fact already. But it's all about timing, right? Is this 1156, 1157, 1158? That is the tough part. But I am going to bet this again. Eventually, we're going to hit it. But yes, I think Harald could lose his horns. And of course, if he doesn't snitch to the world government to get an audience with them, maybe this is how he does it, right? Harald simply tears off his horns and says, hey, this is the price to meet the WG. I'm going to pay it. Which would be pretty crazy, right? That would just show how dedicated Harald is to the cause. Which we kind of heard about that already. Harald tore his horns off to show that ancient giants aren't all about violence. So yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that is the price to pay for diplomacy. So now, on to comment predictions. The first one I found that I kind of enjoyed, that I thought could be plausible, would be a God Valley teaser. I doubt we're going to get a full God Valley flashback. I think that's too much. I feel like we might get the full God Valley flashback from Blackbeard, or maybe even Garp. Maybe even Sengoku. Sengoku wasn't there, but he knew, like, more to the story. So that could be pretty cool. We could also get it from Skopper Gaban. But either way, I do think we will get a teaser about God Valley, right? Because Loki, at the beginning of the flashback, he said that the world government were the ones who killed Rocks D Xebec. How did he get that information? Who told him? Did Harald tell him? Did Harald actually know what happened at God's Valley? And if so, how? Who told Harald, right? So there's a lot of questions about that. You know, apparently they didn't really put that in the news cycle. They wanted to erase Rocks D Xebec from history. So there's a lot of questions about that. So maybe because of all of that knowledge that Harald and Loki have, we do get a God Valley teaser, which would be pretty damn epic, right? As time goes on, we get more and more angles from God Valley. Like maybe this is Loki and Harald's perspective, or maybe even Roger's perspective if we do switch over to him somehow. So the second comment I saw that really, you know, itched my nutsack was that Roger meets Rocks D Xebec. Kind of in the same vein. We don't know if we're going to follow Rocks, but I think it would be cool if we see how they met. Maybe their first meeting, maybe their second meeting, maybe even a clash between them. Because, you know, going back to God Valley, when Roger showed up to God Valley, he said, "Do you know how I felt for the past year?" in reference to Rocks. So they must have fought, or at least met up a year prior. So if we are going along with the timeline, we could actually get some context as to what Roger meant by that, which could be pretty damn insane. I mean, right now, like I said, everybody's on the Rocks D Xebec hype train. If we see Roger in the next chapter and he loses to Rocks, ooh, that's going to be a bad day for Roger fans, man. That is going to be a bad day. But, you know, at the end of the day, though, Roger is the one who obtains the One Piece. So who's the real winner in the end? That is up for debate. So next up, kind of a repeat one, but I do like this. More Rocks Pirates. I saw somebody comment this, and they did make a really good point. You know, we are still missing Captain John. We're still missing the Vega guy. We're also still missing the giant fishman. I would even count Kaido and Big Mom this as well. They should be a part of Rocks' crew during the time when we left off last chapter. So if we do go on with Rocks, we could see them. We could see more people. And I think that would just be awesome. You know, this is the old guard. And there's just something special about seeing pirates that aren't around anymore, right? Because current day, we know who the big players are, right? We know who the Yonko are. We know who the Supernova are. And it's like, okay, well, like, that's pretty cool. But now I want to see characters outside of that. Characters we won't see. Characters who were there beforehand. And yeah, that's why I do enjoy seeing the Rocks Pirates, man. You know, because they're just a bunch of heavy hitters in a group. And it's some good stuff. It's some good stuff. So, with that being said, though, guys, let me know your predictions and your thoughts down below. And get ready, y'all, because 11:56 is here. It's here. Just 2 more days. Maybe just 1 day, where we don't really know when spoilers typically drop. Sometimes Mondays, sometimes Tuesdays. It's kind of a toss-up, right? But yeah, stay tuned for that. Hopefully you guys had a good time here, and I will catch you all later. Thanks for stopping by, and peace out, y'all.